Please recite Surah Fatiha for all the marhumeen whose names are on the board on the back. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله الذي لا يبلغ مدحته القائلون ولا يوصينا معه العدون ولا يؤدي حقه المجتهدون الذي لا يدركه بهد الهمم ولا يناله غوث الفتن الذي ليس لصفته حد محدود ولا نعت موجود ولا وقت محدود ولا أجل ممدود فترى الخلائق بقدرته ونشر الرياح برحمته وودد بالسخر ميدان عرض ثم الصلاة والسلام على أشرف الأنبياء والمرسلين وحبيبنا وحبيب رب العالمين بالقاسم محمد وعلى أهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين واللعن على أعدائهم أجمعين من أول يوم ظلمهم إلى قيام يوم الدين أما بعد فقال الله سبحانه وتعالى في كتابه المبين وقوله الحق بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم قل لا أسألكم عليه أجرا إلا المودة في القربى صدق الله العظيم. Please, the first of our salawat in honor of Amir al-Mu'minin Sayyidat al-Nisa al-Alameen. The second of our salawat in honor of the masters of the youth of paradise, Imam Hassan, Imam Hussain alayhi salam. Finally, with the loudest of your voices, the last of our salawat in honor of the Imam of our time, Imam Syed al-Zaman alayhi salam. Dear brothers and sisters, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Except for his ancestors, known for his knowledge and revered for his piety and worship, the history of the world had not seen a personality such as Jafar ibn Muhammad alayhi salam. It doesn't matter what Islamic school of thought you belong to, every Muslim has a debt to pay to this holy personality. When we look at the life of this holy Imam of ours, we see that from the time that he took on the responsibilities of Imamate until he left this world, his major focus was on nothing but spreading knowledge. Not just knowledge that dealt with only and only Islamic beliefs, not just fiqh, not just aqaid, but every type of knowledge. Yet what is sad is that most of us don't know about this holy personality. We know that he's the 6th Imam. We know that he's the son of the 5th Imam. But we don't know what he had done for Islam. What has he done for Islam? If you look at his history, what were his characteristics like? What was the environment like around him at his time which allowed him to do everything he did for Islam? If you look at the environment of the time of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, you see Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam, they had a specific environment. In that time, what was happening? The rulers of that time, they were struggling to stay in power. Banu Abbas and Banu Umayyah, they were fighting each other to see who would be in power. Because the governments were fighting each other, both of these Imams, especially both of these Imams, had enough time to give in spreading true Islam. When it comes to the life of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he had more time to give. Why? Because one of the titles given to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam is what? Shaykh al Muhammad. Meaning what? The eldest of Al Muhammad. Why is he given that title? Because the 6th Imam, up until that point in time, the 6th Imam lived the longest compared to the others. Before Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, the eldest was Amir al-Mu'minin, the Holy Prophet who died or who passed away, who were martyred at an age of 63 years old. But Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he was martyred at the age of 65. Because he was the eldest, he was given one of these titles, which was Shaykh al Muhammad. But to begin with, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, born in Medina 83 years after Hijrah, and he was martyred 25th of Shawwal, 148 years after Hijrah, which means that his total life was 65 years. His father, as we all know, was the fifth Imam, Imam Muhammad Baqir Islam, but his mother was Farwa bint Qasim bint Muhammad bint Ibn Abu Bakr. Farwa bint Qasim ibn Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr. Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr is the son of Abu Bakr, the first Khalifa. When you look at his lineage from the father's side, it goes back to the Holy Prophet. When you look at his lineage from the mother's side, it goes back to Abu Bakr. But it goes back to Abu Bakr through whom? Muhammad ibn Abu Bakr. That personality which Amir al-Mu'mineen said that this personality or this son belongs to me. Why is that? It's because after Abu Bakr passed away, Amir al-Mu'mineen was the one who raised Muhammad. And because Amir al-Mu'mineen raised Muhammad, he claimed that this personality is one of my sons, like one of my sons. But because of that, you see that both of these lines, both of these lineages, they exist in this Imam of ours. But when it comes to Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, since his infancy, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he attended the lectures of his father, Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam, which were conducted where? In Masjid Nabawi or in the house of the Imam himself. And one of the earliest examples of him attending that lecture or those lectures of his father was what? At the age of 3. At the age of 3 years old, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he's sitting in the lectures of his father. And what were these lectures about? What were these lectures about? The Holy Imam, he used to talk about Muhammad Baqir, he used to talk about philosophy, he used to talk about astronomy, he used to talk about all of the types of sciences. And this is a 3-year-old sitting in these lectures. One day what happened? The Khalifa of that time, he comes to Medina. Why? Because he had told his representative of Medina that he wants Masjid Nabawi to expand it. So when his representative told him that he had finished one part of that masjid, the expansion of one part of that masjid, the Khalifa, he comes from Sham. He comes from Syria just to see what had happened. When he comes, he goes to the masjid and he sees that Imam Muhammad Baqir is giving a lecture. And in that lecture, there's a 3-year-old boy sitting in that lecture. And he looks at his representative and he goes, who is this boy? And does he understand anything that is being said in this lecture? His representative looks at him and he goes, oh Khalifa, this 3-year-old boy, he's the son of Muhammad Baqir. And he understands better than any of these elders that are sitting here. He understands better than any of these elders. When they don't understand something, he's the one who explains it to them. He explains it to them. So the Khalifa, just like every other Khalifa that passed, what did he do? He tried to test the Imam. A 3-year-old. He tests him. So he calls him over and he asks him his name and he goes, I'm Jafar ibn Muhammad. He goes, Jafar, do you know who is considered to be the father of logic? And without hesitating, Imam Jafar at the age of 3, he goes, Aristotle is considered to be the father of logic. Aristotle, 3-year-old, he knows these personalities. He goes, Aristotle is considered to be the father of logic. Who gave him that title? His students gave him that title, and the people he was surrounded with gave him that title. When the Khalifa, he questioned the Imam to what? To test him, to try and stump him. But when the Imam, he answered the Khalifa, he goes, Jafar, do you know what Ma'az is? Do you know who Ma'az is? And Imam, he goes, Ma'az is not the name of a person. Ma'az is the name of a group of stars that are in Falan galaxy. Ma'az is the name of a group of stars that are in a specific type of constellation. A 3-year-old, he knows what? He knows astronomy. A 3-year-old, he knows logic. A 3-year-old, he knows philosophy. And now, the Khalifa, he wasn't content. He asked him, Jafar, do you know who Sahib al-Miswaq is? Do you know who Sahib al-Miswaq is? The Imam, without hesitating, yes. Sahib al-Miswaq, that title was given to Abdullah ibn Masud, one of the companions of the Prophet. without hesitating. The Imam, he knows history. The Imam, he knows any science. Now, the Khalifa, he was completely astonished when he had no other questions to ask the Imam. What does he do? He takes Imam Jafar Sadiq by the hand. He goes to his father while he was giving the lecture. He tells him, Ya Muhammad, congratulations. This son of yours will truly become one of the greatest scientists of his era. One of the greatest scientists of his era. And that speech of his became reality. But which of the Imams were not the greatest scientists of their era? You look at any of the Imams, you go to Imam Zain al-Abidin, you go to Imam Muhammad, all the way to the 11th Imam, which of them weren't the greatest of their era? So it's not some fortune telling that this man did. He had already seen what his forefathers did. So he knew what this person or this personality was capable of. So what happens? Because of the turmoil that was happening with the tyrannical governments of that time, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he had the perfect opportunity to teach pure Islam. And because of the Umayyad rule, Islam had been completely changed when it came to Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. When Muawiyah he got into power, Islam was not the same Islam of the Holy Prophet. What had happened, the hadith had been changed. What had happened, it came to a point where the prayer itself was not prayed the way the Holy Prophet used to pray. So what had happened, when the Banu Umayyah came into power, Islam had completely changed. And what did the Imam do? Even though he knew about all of these sciences, he spent most of his time trying to get people back to the path of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. It was this sixth Imam of ours who, according to some narrations, he had about 4,000 students who spread his teachings. 4,000 students who spread his teaching, but he had students more than 4,000. He had more than 4,000 students. At that time, if you wanted to learn philosophy, you came to the doorsteps of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. If you wanted to learn biology, you came to the doorsteps of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. If you wanted to learn chemistry, you came to the doorsteps of this holy Imam. If you wanted to learn philosophy, you came to the doorsteps of this Imam. Whatever language or whatever science you wanted to learn, you came to the doorsteps of this holy Imam. Even when it came to fiqh, where did people come? Two of the founders of schools of thought in Islam, they were students of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. They were students of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. So it didn't matter what type of science, it didn't matter what type of knowledge you wanted to learn. You came to the doorsteps of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. Just like his ancestors, it didn't matter what knowledge you wanted. And like I said, one of the people, or one of the most famous students of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam is who? Who? Abu Hanifa. One of the most famous students, famous in the world of Islam, alaykum salam, famous in the world of Islam, is Abu Hanifa. Abu Hanifa. His own school of thought. He has his own school of thought now. Yet he was a student of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. Malik ibn Anas. He has a whole school of thought. Yet he was also a student of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. It's sad. You see that people, they took the students and left the teacher. Was the teacher not as educated as the students? Was the teacher not as learned as the students? When it comes to Abu Hanifa, there's a story that Abu Hanifa, he goes to Medina and he waits in front of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam's house for permission to enter. He sees that a group of people go in, but he doesn't go in with them. He wasn't given permission. So then he waits outside. When he waits outside, he sees another group of people go in. And instead of waiting for permission to come in, he walks in with this group of people. And when he walks in with this group of people, he sits, everything, the meeting that was happening, the discussions that were happening after everything was finished, Abu Hanifa, he says, Ya ibn Rasulullah, to Imam Jafar Sadiq, he says, Ya ibn Rasulullah, I've been to Kufa. I've been to Kufa and your companions, they curse the Sahaba of the Holy Prophet. Tell them to stop. And the Imam, he looks at Abu Hanifa, he goes, Abu Hanifa, they won't listen to me. They won't listen to me. And he goes, Ya ibn Rasulullah, you're the son of the Holy Prophet. Why won't they listen to you? He looked at Abu Hanifa, he goes, you yourself don't listen to me, so what makes you think the masses will listen to me? You yourself don't listen to me. What did he mean? He was a student, yet he was giving fiqh masail based on his own opinion. So what did he say? The Imam, he goes, you came into my house without my permission. You sat down without my permission. So what makes you think, when you yourself, who claims to be a scholar, you don't listen to me, what makes you think the layman will listen to me? He goes on, the Imam, he goes on to say, I hear about you, that you give verdicts, that you give fatwas based on analogy and comparison. In our fiqh, no alim, no mujtahid will give a fatwa based on a fatwa of another subject. For example, when he tells Abu Hanifa that, Abu Hanifa goes, yes, Ibn Rasul, that's true. I do give opinions based on analogy and comparison. So the Imam, he looks at him and goes, do you know who the first one to use analogy like that was? The first person to use analogy and comparison like that was Shaitan. Why have you taken the way of Shaitan? But what does the Imam do? He puts 3 questions forward to Abu Hanifa. He goes, Abu Hanifa, tell me, what is worse? Murder or fornication? Abu Hanifa, he goes, murder. There's a lot of people that have these types of questions. What's worse, this or that? They're 2 completely different subjects and they want to compare. When the subjects are completely different, how will you compare? It's apples and oranges. So what does the Imam ask? He goes, Abu Hanifa, what's worse? Murder or fornication? Abu Hanifa, without thinking, he goes, murder is worse. Murder is worse. So Imam, he goes, if murder is worse, then why is it that for murder you're only required 2 witnesses, but for fornication you're required 4? He didn't have a reply. So then the Imam, he goes, you know what, leave it alone. Tell me, what's worse, urine or semen? What is worse? Abu Hanifa, without thinking, he says urine's worse. And the Imam, he goes, if urine is worse, then why is it that when someone urinates, all they have to do is wash that part, but when they have Hadith al-Akbar, they have to take complete bath? If urine is worse, why is it that one, you just have to wash the part, for the other, you have to take a complete bath? Why is it? This is why you and I are not allowed to use comparison, or the ulama, the mujtahids don't use comparison when they come to fatwas. The 3rd question, the Imam, he says, Abu Hanifa, tell me what's better. What's better? What has more reward? What's better? Fasting or praying? You get this question a lot. For Shias, what question do we get a lot? What's more important? What's better? Azadari or praying? These are 2 completely different topics. You don't compare them like that. The same way, the Imam, he asks him, what's better? Fasting or praying? Different topics. Without thinking, Abu Hanifa, he goes, Ibn Rasulullah, praying is better. Praying is better. So then he goes, if praying is better, then why is it that a woman who's on her menstrual cycle for a month, in the month, why is it that she doesn't have to make up her prayers, but she has to make up her fast? Why? Prayers are better, so shouldn't she make up the prayers and not the fast? So Abu Hanifa, no reply. And what does he say? He says, from today on, I'll stop using analogy and comparison. And the Imam, he himself, he swears that he goes, I swear to God that you will never stop. You've become completely engrossed in it. You'll never stop. You'll never stop. Salli ala Muhammad wa When he says this, the holy Imam, he looks at him, he goes, I've heard something about an interpretation of the verse of the Quran that you give. Tell me if it's true. He says, I've heard that you interpret the verse of the Quran where it says, you shall be asked about the blessings of your Lord, to mean that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala on the day of judgment will ask about all the food and the drink that He had given you. Is that true? And Abu Hanifa, he goes, Ibn Rasulullah, that's true. That's true. On the Day of Judgment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will ask the people about the food and the drinks that He Himself provided, He Himself gave. So Imam, he looks at him and he tells him, tell me something. If someone invites you to their house, they give you food, they give you drinks, and then they later on, they question you about that. What would you say about this person? What would you say about this person? Abu Hanifa, he puts his head down and he says, Ya Ibn Rasulullah, I would say that this person is very stingy. So he says, so are you trying to say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is stingy? That He provides you all of this and then on the Day of Judgment He will ask you about food and drink? Then Abu Hanifa goes, then what is the correct interpretation? He goes, the correct interpretation about these blessings is what did you do with the love of what did you do with the love of the Ahlul Bayt that was incumbent upon you? The blessings in this verse refers to loving Muhammad wa ala Muhammad. He will question you about those blessings. He will question you about Muhammad and his family. Because they themselves are those blessings. How did you act with them? How did you act with them? A lot of people, when they realize how some of the people in history, a lot of the Khulafa in history, how they acted with the Imams, they'll realize that on the Day of Judgment, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala asks them, they'll have no opinion, they'll have nothing to say. Why? Because history already tells us how they acted with them. Which Imam wasn't poisoned or murdered? Which Imam? Why were they poisoned? What were they scared of? What was the government afraid of? None of the Imams, except Imam Hussein rose up. And even when Imam Hussein rose up, what did he rise up saying? I'm not doing it for power, but I'm doing it for Amr bil Ma'ruf Nahy Anil Munkar. After Imam Hussein, which of the Imams rose up? None of them. So why were they poisoned? Something for the Islamic Ummah to think of. The second person that was a student of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam was Malik ibn Anas. Malik ibn Anas himself, he's narrated or he's used narrations from Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam. He himself says about the Imam that when the Imam used to narrate something of the Holy Prophet, he would be in wuzu all the time. Malik ibn Anas. But when you look at Bukhari, there isn't one narration from Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Why? Not one narration from Imam Sadiq. Why? Because other ulama, they said that Bukhari didn't feel like Imam Sadiq alayhi salam was knowledgeable enough. He didn't see that he was worthy. His students are transmitting narrations, but the teacher, he's not worthy. Does that make sense logically? No, it doesn't. But if we want to know about his knowledge in chemistry, all we have to do is look at his most famous pupil in chemistry, Jabir ibn Hayyan. When you look at Jabir ibn Hayyan, who's still talked about today, in the universities, they know him as what? The father of early chemistry. The father of early chemistry. Yet if you ask them, do you know who Jafar Sadiq is? They'll do no, we don't know this name. We don't know this name. If you ask the majority of Muslims, do you know that these two scholars, they were students of Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam? They would know. Or they deny it. Very few people know that fact. So why is it that the world took the students and left the teacher? What wasn't there in the teacher that was in the students? What wasn't there? For Jabir ibn Hayyan, they didn't know. Okay, what about the Islamic Ummah? Did they not know who Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi salam was? Did they not know who his forefathers were? Of course they knew. If you look at his knowledge and what he gave, not just to Islam, but to all of humanity, this theory of light before Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, what did people used to think? They used to think that the light from our eyes, it goes onto objects and then we're able to see. The light from our eyes. But the Imam, he completely changed that. He says light from our eyes doesn't go. No, the light from the object, it reflects into our eyes and we're able to see. The light reflects from the object. This is exactly what we say today. This is exactly what science says today. 1200, 1300 years ago, Imam had already said this. The light is reflected from the object and we're able to see. He himself, he says, if we were to create an object that takes all that light into a single place, we would be able to see something that is about 3,000 feet away. We would be able to see it as if it's 30 feet away. And when Galileo made his telescope, they asked him, how is it that we're able to see all of these heavenly bodies so close? How are we able to even see like the mountains that are on the moons? And he says the exact same thing. He says that when we take that light and we put it into a single place, we're able to see those faraway objects, for example, 3,000 feet away, as if they're 3 feet away, as if they're 30 feet away. Galileo, after he invented the telescope. But who was the one who came up with this theory? Imam Sadiq alayhi salam. Yet no credit has ever been given to him. Why? This is what history has done. If you look, inshallah, before the end of the lecture, there's a debate that every youngster should listen to. If you ever get the time, please read about the history of Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, read about the history of Imam Riza alayhi salam especially, and their debates, especially their debates with the atheists of their time. Because whatever question the atheists of today have, those are the same questions that they had at that time. And if you look at the answer that the Imams gave at that time, those answers, there hasn't been a rebuttal to those answers, even until today. But about light, for example, about the sun, for example, Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he said that to his people at that time. Please remember the mentality of the people at that time. What does he say to the people at that time? He says that behind this sun there are thousands of other suns. These stars that you see, some of these stars, they're brighter than our sun. People, they laughed at the Imam. These little specks of light that we see at night, they're brighter than the sun. They're so small. The sun is so big when it comes out. How are these so bright? When did we find out, yes, some of these stars are brighter than the sun? In the last 100 years, when we found out quasars, they're brighter than the sun itself. When it comes to science, you read up about what the Imam had done for science. You see that the Imam had given so much in science. Even when he debates, inshallah, there's a debate that he debates with Abu Shakir, an atheist of his time. An atheist of his time. And what was this debate? Abu Shakir, he comes, the Imam, he's giving a lecture in the masjid, he comes and he sits. He listens to the lecture, and after the lecture was over, he says, Ya Jafar, isn't it a lie? Isn't it true that there is no Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Isn't it a myth that there's Allah? You want people to believe in a thing which does not exist. Please, this is the debate. This is exactly, if you completely pay attention to it, you'll see that these are exactly the same concepts. These are the exact same words that are used today. He says, you want people to believe in a thing which does not exist. If there was Allah, we could have felt His existence through our senses. If there was Allah, we could have felt His existence through our senses. You may say that we can perceive the presence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala by our intelligence and not through our inner or outer senses. But our intelligence also needs the assistance of 5 outer senses, without which it cannot function. We cannot make any reasoning or come to any conclusion without the help of our senses. Even today, the atheists, they say, what? It's these senses and that's it. Whatever comes into existence is from whatever we understand is through these senses. Abu Shakir, he goes on to say that you say that the universe was created by Allah, who did not talk to anyone except to the Prophet of Islam. As a matter of fact, the universe came into existence by itself. The universe came into existence by itself. Isn't that what's being said today? That the universe came into existence by itself? You deceive innocent people by saying that you're imagining Allah has created the universe, but I don't deceive anyone. No one created the universe. There was no need for any God to create it. It came into existence by itself. In reply, what does the Imam say? He says, Abu Shakir, you have said that I have made up stories and asked the people to worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who cannot be seen. Can you see inside your body? This was at that time. At that time. Can you see? But look at the science that the Imam knew even at that time. Can you see inside your body? Can you see inside your body? Abu Shakir, he says, no, I can't see in my body. And he asks, what's the relationship between what's in my body and your Allah? What's the relationship? Imam, he replies that you have said just now that a thing which cannot be seen, touched, heard, tasted, does not exist. Do you hear the movement of blood in your body? Do you hear the movement of blood in your body? Have you seen the tiny living beings which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala created in your body? The tiny living beings. What are these living beings that Imam is talking about? These are the blood cells that are in the body. It's because of these small creatures and their wonderful work that you are kept alive. They are so small that you cannot see them. Since you are the slave of your senses, you do not know about their existence. And this is absolutely true. If you believe that our senses are it, then you become a slave to your senses. If you believe that your intellect is it, then you're a slave to your intellect. That's it. Because if you increase your knowledge and decrease your ignorance, you will come to know that these small beings in your body are as large in number as the particles of the sands and deserts. These particles, these small beings that Imam Jafar Sadiq is talking about, are the cells in your body. Abu Shakir, do you see this stone? Another thing of the intelligence of the Imam. He goes, Abu Shakir, do you see this stone? To you it seems lifeless and motionless, because you do not see the motion that's within it. The motion that's within it. Again, it's because of a lack of knowledge on your part, which would not let you believe that there's motion inside this stone. But there will come a time when there will be people who will be able to see the motion inside the stone. What motion is the Imam talking about here? Everything has what? Everything is made out of? Living things are made out of cells. A stone is not living. But what's this? What is the same thing that a living thing has that a non-living thing has? Do you all know? Atoms. Atoms. Atoms are constantly moving. Whether it's a living thing or a non-living thing, everything has atoms. Atoms are constantly in motion. The Imam, he goes, if you had known, if you had knowledge, you would know that this stone, there's motion inside the stone. The stone isn't moving. He says there's motion inside the stone. That motion is the atoms. He goes, Abu Shakir, all scientists and all scholars believe in the existence of a creator, although they may not call him, or although they may call him by different names. Even those who do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even those scientists that do not believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they do believe in a creative force. They do believe in a creative force. Abu Shakir, he goes, Abu Shakir, it is not because of one's knowledge, but it is due to their ignorance that they don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It's because of their ignorance. Can you deny? He goes, Abu Shakir, do you see the air on which your every existence depends? The air. We ourselves, we need air to breathe. Plants, they need air. Not just air to grow. They need air to live. When you look at the Imam and the amount of chemistry he knew at that time, you realize he was ahead of his time. When you look at the Imam and the cosmology he knew, the astronomy he knew, you realize that he was ahead of his time. When you look at the Imam and you look at the biology he knew, for example, the water cycle. The water cycle. How we get rain, basically. When did this theory come into existence? Do you all know? In the 1500s. But it wasn't until the 1800s when people accepted this, when the scientists accepted this theory in the form that before they used to believe that rivers, they were full. How did rivers get filled? They were filled because water would seep from underneath the ground. Water would seep from underneath the ground and it would fill the rivers. Before 1700s, they used to believe that. In the 1500s, in the 1500s, they came up with the water theory. with the theory that it's only rain is enough to fill these rivers. But Imam al-Islam, he had already spoken about the water cycle 900 years before this theory came into existence. But why wasn't he given the credit? Did it not exist in books? Yes, it existed in books. But why wasn't he given the credit? If you look at it from a perspective of the Western world, you see what? A lot of the credit that's been given to scientific theories, they belong to whom? Westerners. So you can say that there's a bias there. But what prevented the Islamic community from accepting Imam Jafar Sadiq alayhi's knowledge? What prevented them from realizing that this man, this personality, is not like you and me? The knowledge he has is proof enough that this personality is not the same as us. If we just look at him, not from that Nurani perspective, but from that perspective that we can understand, this Jismani perspective, how can someone who looks like us, or how can someone who is exactly looking like us have such knowledge? Not just about one field. So many people, we spend, 60, 50, 40 years in one field, and we'll be experts in one field. But how can someone spend 3 years and be an expert in every single field that man can know? Just that itself tells you that this personality is not like you and I. Sallallahu Muhammad wa alayhi Muhammad. Imam, he goes on to say, he goes, Abu Shakir, you have just said that everything in the universe came into existence by itself and has no creator. You think that the grass in the field grows and gets green by itself? You must know that the grass cannot grow without seeds, and seeds would not germinate without moisture in the soil, and there would be no moisture if no rain falls. The rain does not fall by itself, Abu Shakir. First the water vapors, they rise and gather above in the atmosphere in the form of clouds. This is the whole water cycle that we know of today. First the water vapors rise and gather above in the atmosphere in the form of clouds. The winds bring the clouds, then the water vapors condense and fall as raindrops. They fall as raindrops. And today this is known as the water cycle. 1300 years ago, 1200 years ago. Yet no credit was given to this holy personality. Many Muslims don't even know it was this Imam who gave us that cycle, who told us about that cycle. The Imam, he goes on, in addition to water, seeds also need air. It is possible to grow grass, herbs, and fruits in hot houses when it is very cold, provided that there's enough air. Provided that there's enough air. In addition to water, or without the presence of air, no grass will grow in the fields and get green. If there is no air, all plants, animals, including human beings, will die. How did the Imam know that? We don't have anything that says that he did scientific experiments to do that. So how was it that the Imam came to have this knowledge? How was it? You have to admit that to have this type of knowledge at that time, which was 12, 13, 14, at the very least up until this time period that we live in, that the knowledge that the Imam had, up until this time period, it was 1200 years past this time. 1300 years past this time. Yes, it's absolutely true that the Imam had knowledge up until the end of time. But we live in this time, which was 1200 years after the Imam lived. So how was it that this personality had this knowledge? You have to come to the conclusion that this personality must be a representative of the person or of that being that created this whole universe. Or else how can you have this knowledge? He goes, Abu Shakir, can you deny that to grow and get green, the grass needs many things like seeds, soil, water, air, a suitable climate, and above all, a strong managing power, which may coordinate the action of these different things? Which may coordinate the action. That managing and coordinating power is Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say without the need of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. You say that everything came into existence by itself. He goes, Abu Shakir, you say this only and only because you're not a scientist. If you are truly a scientist, you realize that all of this came into existence through a being. So all of these people that claim to be scientists, but they don't believe, like the Imam said, they don't believe in a creative force, or they don't believe in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, are not truly scientists. A lot of people, they believe that science and religion cannot coexist together. No, science and religion can coexist together. Why do they come to this conclusion? Why? Because science and Christianity was not able to coexist together. Because science and Christianity was not able to coexist together, they say, no, it's all of religion. Why is it all of religion? Why is it all of religion? Islam in the golden ages, did it ever do what the Christians did to the scientists? No, it didn't. So why can't science and religion coexist together? It can. The Imam, he goes, Abu Shakir, when a wise man thinks of himself, he finds that his own body needs a controller so that all his organs and systems may function properly. He then realizes that this vast universe also needs a controller or supervisor so that it may also run smoothly. And when he realizes this, he comes to the conclusion that there needs to be this creator. There needs to be God. Abu Shakir, you said just now that both of us create our own God. You create yours with your hands. I created mine with my imagination. But there's a big difference between your God and my Allah. Your God did not exist before you made him out of wood or before you made him out of stone. But my Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala was there before I could even think about him. My Allah existed before I could even think about him. I do not create my Allah by my hands or by my brain. What I do is to know him better and think of his greatness with my intellect. That's it. My intellect did not create Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. All my intellect did was get me closer to him. Get me to know Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's it. It didn't create Allah. When you see a mountain, he gives an example. A perfectly legitimate example. He goes, when you see a mountain, you try to know more about it. It's not creating the mountain by imagination. You have not created that mountain by imagination. That mountain was there before you even saw it. That mountain existed there before you even looked upon it. You didn't create that mountain out of your imagination. But once you saw that mountain, what would you want to do? You would want to know more about that mountain. That's it. That's what the intellect is for. He goes, you cannot know much about the mountain because of your limited knowledge. The more knowledge grows, the more you know about that mountain. He goes, Abu Shakir, in this whole debate, someone who saw this universe being created would be able to say these next words that the Imam himself, he says, Abu Shakir, do you know that the stones out of which you make your idols came into existence or came into being thousands of years ago, and they shall exist for thousands of years afterwards? These stones have come here from a distant place. They could have traveled that long journey because different parts of the earth are always moving, but this movement is so slow that you do not feel it. There's nothing in the universe which does not move. Rest and motionlessness is meaningless. We are not at rest even when we are sleeping. We're not at rest even when we're sleeping. We are in motion because the earth is in constant motion. The earth is in constant motion. Besides this, we ourselves, we have motion inside our body. Abu Shakir, if you had any knowledge about these pieces of stone out of which you carve your idols, you would have not denied the existence of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And you would not have said that I have created Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala through my imagination. You do not know what a stone is and how it came into being. A stone. Today you can handle it as you like and cut it into any shape or form, but there was a time when this stone was in a liquid state. When this stone was in a liquid state. When you look about what the scientists are saying about how a world comes into existence, how the earth came into existence, there was a time when there was nothing but what? lava and magma. The lands that we have why? Because that lava, that magma, it cooled down. It cooled down. What does the Imam say? He says there was a time when these rocks, they were in a liquid state. Gradually it cooled down, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He solidified it. In the beginning, it was quite brittle and would have broken into pieces in your hand like a piece of glass. If you've ever seen volcanoes explode and the lava, once it cools down, the obsidian is called obsidian, the rock is called obsidian. It's very brittle. And you can crush it with your hands after it's cooled down. That obsidian can be crushed with your hand. The Imam, when he says this, Abu Shakir, he laughs. This is what the intellect. This is how much knowledge the Imam had. Today we realize, yes, the world at a time was what? In a state of magma and lava. Today, 1200 years later. But Abu Shakir at that time, he laughed at the Imam. And he says to him, when he starts laughing, one of the companions that were sitting there, they got really angry. They got angry at the Imam. He tells them, no, don't worry about it. So he goes, Abu Shakir, why are you laughing? And Abu Shakir, he goes, I'm laughing because you just said that these rocks were water. The Imam, he goes, I did not say that these rocks were water. I said that these rocks were liquid. I said that these rocks were liquid. And Abu Shakir, he goes, there's no difference. Water and liquid are the same thing. And the Imam, he goes, no, they're not the same thing. Milk is liquid, but it's not water. Vinegar is liquid, but it's not water. They're not the same thing. So what does Abu Shakir say? He didn't have a reply. So what did he say? He says that I'll go home and I'll burn these rocks on my stove and we'll see. And the Imam, he laughs at him and he goes, you can't burn these stones. If you want it to be in that liquid state again, they have to burn at a very high temperature. Can you tell me, when you want to burn metal and turn it into or mold it into whatever it needs to be molded into, do you do it at your stove at home? No. This was the knowledge of the Imam. How does this personality know that this world at one point in time was nothing but lava and magma? How does he know? Only type of people that could know were if they saw this universe being created in front of their eyes. That's it. Because in the beginning, these stones were liquid like water and they flowed like water. They flowed like water. I didn't say they were water. All I said was they were liquid. Abu Shakir, do you realize how you could make the idols out of stone? It was Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala who made the stones. It was He who created you and gave you the hands with the unique fingers which enabled you to handle tools and chisel out the idols from the stones. Again, it was He who gave you power and intelligence which you used in making these idols. Later on in the debate, Abu Shakir says that I can't believe in a thing that is everywhere but remains unseen. We say that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is everywhere. Abu Shakir, he goes, how can there be something that is everywhere, so vast that it's everywhere, yet I can't see it? The Imam, he goes, Abu Shakir, isn't air everywhere? Abu Shakir goes, air is everywhere, but I do feel it. Abu Shakir, you only feel the air when it moves. That's it. But what about the times when it doesn't move? Right now, there's air in here. There's air in here. What about those times when it doesn't move? Does it mean that air doesn't exist in those times? No. It's the same thing. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is everywhere. We don't feel Him with our senses. That's it. This holy personality was one of those people who was given abundance of wisdom, abundance of knowledge. It was this wisdom from which the Abbasid tyrant Mansur was afraid of. It was in this tyrant's lifetime that the holy Imam, he was martyred. And why was he martyred? Did the Imam, he claim, or did he want to rise up and take over this government? No, he didn't. But how was the holy Imam martyred? That's not good. Can you please turn off the lights? Someone please turn off the lights. How was this holy Imam martyred? Mansour had given the holy Imam grapes. If you look at the Imams, why did he not know that these grapes were poisoned? Why did the Imam still take those grapes? He knew that these grapes were poisoned. This is what these Imams did. They did everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted them to do. This is what it means to be obedient to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Sallallahu alayka ya Rasulallah. Sallallahu alayka ya Amir al-Mu'mineen. Sallallahu alayki ya Siddiqat Fatima. Sallallahu alayka ya Hasan al-Mujtaba. Sallallahu alayka ya Gharib al-Ghuraba. Ya Aba Abdullah. आज़ादारों मौला के आखिरी लम्हे हैं, मौला घर वालों को बुलाते हैं और वसीयत करते हैं। इमाम मूसा काज़िम ने अपने बाबा के सर को गोद में लिया है और रो रहे हैं। मेरे छठे इमाम रो के फरमाते हैं, मेरे लाल मैं कम से कम घर में तो हूँ। ऐ मेरे लाल मेरा सर तेरे जानू पर है। इमाम काज़िम पूछते हैं, बाबा जान आप क्यों रो रहे हैं? इमाम सादिक फरमाते हैं, मेरे लाल मैं तुझ पर रो रहा हूँ, मैं तेरी गुर्बत पर रो रहा हूँ। जब तू आवाज देगा तो तेरा बेटा मदीने में होगा। मेरे लाल जब मदीने से रज़ा आएगा और आपके साथ भी यही मंजर होगा। आज़ादारों ये तो मेरे छठे इमाम थे, चलो चलते हैं मेरे चौथे इमाम के पास। निसुब शब है, दरबार शाम है और शहजादी ज़ैनब नमाज शब के लिए उठी है और पुकारती है, बेटे सज्जाद कहाँ हो? जब इमाम ज़ैनुल आबिदीन की आवाज़ नहीं आती है तो कूफे की तरफ रुक करके फरमाती है, या अबती अदरिकनी। बाबा अली एक सज्जाद थे और वो भी नहीं रहे। बाबा जान मेरी मदद कीजिए। जब नजफ की रुक करके रो रही थी, शहजादी ने देखा दर जिंदान खुला और आका ज़ैनुल आबिदीन आए। ज़ैनब मौला सज्जाद से पूछती है, बेटे सज्जाद कहाँ गए थे? मौला फरमाते, फूफी जान बाबा को दफनाने गया था। शहजादी पूछती है, सज्जाद क्या आपने तन्हा मेरे हुसैन को दफनाया? इमाम फरमाते, फूफी जान जब मैं करबला पहुंचा तो कोई भी न था। बनु असद की दो ख़वातीन थी जो रो रही थी। मुझे देख के जब वो जाने लगी तो मैंने आवाज दी, मेरे माओ बहनों रुक जाओ, मैं इन्हीं का वारिस हूँ। उन्होंने मुझसे पूछा कि मैं कौन हूँ। मैंने कहा मैं अली हूँ और ये मेरे बाबा हुसैन हैं। ख़वातीन फरमाती हैं कि बेशक ये हुसैन है। मेरे मौला उनसे पूछते हैं कि आपको कैसे पता कि ये हुसैन है? फरमाती है, या अली 3 दिन से एक औरत की आवाज सुन रहे हैं और यही नाम लेके पुकारती है। फूफी जान जब मैंने बाबा की कब्र को बनाया तो देखा कि कोई लेने वाला नहीं, और अगर मैं लेता तो कोई देने वाला नहीं। सच्चा तो आपने मेरे हुसैन को किस तरह दफन किया? सैयद सज्जाद फरमाते, फूफी जान मैंने नजफ का रुख किया और आवाज दी, दादा अली मेरी मदद कीजिए। फूफी जान मैंने देखा कि कब्र से 2 हाथे निकलते हैं। सज्जाद क्या वो हाथ बाबा अली के थे? नहीं फूफी जान वो दोनों हाथ दादी ज़हरा के थे। इन्ना लिल्लाहि व इन्ना इलैहि राजिऊन।
Husain چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا امام جعفر صادق امام جعفر صادق زہر سے مارا گیا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا اٹھا کے دیکھی جو تاریخ اپنے مولا کی اٹھا کے دیکھی جو تاریخ اپنے مولا کی ہوئے ہیں قید کئی بار ہوئے ہیں قید کئی بار اور ظلم سارا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا کتنے مجبور تھے امام ذرا سوچو تو کتنے مجبور تھے امام ذرا سوچو تو بنائے چار جانشین بنائے چار جانشین جن میں منصور بھی تھا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا جلایا گھر بھی امام ششم کا لوگوں نے جلایا گھر بھی امام ششم کا لوگوں نے یہ آگ کیسی ہے بابا یہ آگ کیسی ہے بابا بیٹیوں نے کہا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا آگ تیسری سادات کے دروازے پر آگ تیسری سادات کے دروازے پر در علی کو جلایا در علی کو جلایا قیام کربلا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا بلند ہونی چاہیے آج ماتم کی صدا جاؤ سے 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 جاؤ سے
اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد السلام عليك يا نبي الله السلام عليك يا حبيب الله السلام عليك يا حجة الله السلام عليك يا رحمة للعالمين السلام عليك يا باعث الهدى ورحمة الله وبركاته السلام عليك يا أمير المؤمنين السلام عليك يا سوب الدين السلام عليك يا علي بن أبي طالب عليه السلام السلام عليك يا بنت رسول الله السلام عليك يا فاطمة الزهراء سيد النساء العالمين السلام عليك يا أبا محمد حسن المجتبى عليه السلام يا رب السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله حسين السلام السلام عليك يا ابن رسول الله السلام عليك يا وارث آدم صفة الله السلام عليك يا وارث نوح النبي الله السلام عليك يا وارث إبراهيم خليل الله السلام عليك يا وارث موسى كليم الله السلام عليك يا وارث عيسى روح الله السلام عليك يا وارث محمد حبيب الله السلام عليك يا وارث علي أمير المؤمنين ولي الله السلام عليك يا محمد المصطفى السلام عليك يا ابن علي المرتضى. السلام عليك يا ابن فاطمة الزهراء سيد نساء العالمين. السلام عليك يا ابن خديجة الكبرى. السلام عليك يا سار الله وابن صالح والفطر الموتور. أشهد أنك قد أقمت الصلاة وآتيت الزكاة وأمرت بالمعروف ونهيت عن المنكر وأطعت الله ورسوله حتى أتاك اليقين. ولعن الله أمة قتلتك ولعن الله أمة ظلمتك ولعن الله أمة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. يا مولاي يا أبا عبد الله أشهد أنك كنت نورا في الأسلاب الشامخة والأرحام المطهرة لم تنجسك الجاهلية بنجاسها ولم تلبسك من مظلمات ثيابها. أشهد أنك من دعائم الدين وأركان المؤمنين وأشهد أنك الإمام البر التقي الرزي الزكي الهادي المهدي. وأشهد أن الأئمة من ولدك كلمة التقوى وأعلام الهدى والقربة الوثقى والحجة على أهل الدنيا. وأشهد الله وملائكته وأنبياءه ورسله أني بكم مؤمن وأبي بكم موقن بشراء ديني وخواتيم عملي وقلبي لقلبكم سلم وأمري لأمركم متبع. صلوات الله عليكم وعلى أرواحكم وعلى أجسادكم وعلى أجسامكم وعلى شاهدكم وعلى غائبكم وعلى ظاهركم وعلى باطنكم. السلام عليكم مولانا ابو الفضل العباس علیہ السلام. السلام عليكم قمر بني هاشم. السلام عليكم ابن امير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم ايها العبد الصالح لله ورسوله. اشهد انك قد جهدت ونصحت وصبرت حتى اتاك اليقين. لعن الله الظالمين لكم من الاولين والاخرين والحاكم درجك الجحيم. السلام عليكم ابن رسول الله. السلام عليكم ابن نبي الله. السلام عليكم ابن امير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم ابن الحسين الشهيد. السلام عليك ايها الشهيد وابن الشهيد. السلام عليك ايها المظلوم وابن المظلوم. لعن الله امة قتلتك ولعن الله امة ظلمتك ولعن الله امة سمعت بذلك فرضيت به. السلام عليك يا أولياء الله وأحباه. السلام عليكم يا أصفياء الله وأبداه. السلام عليكم يا أنصار دين الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار رسول الله. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أمير المؤمنين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار فاطمة سيدة النساء العالمين. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي محمد الحسن بن علي الولي الناصر. السلام عليكم يا أنصار أبي عبد الله بأبي أنتم وأمي طبتم وطابت الأرض التي فيها دفنتم وفزتم فوزا عظيما. ويا ليتني كنت معكم فأفوز معكم. السلام عليك علي بن الحسين عليه السلام. السلام عليك محمد بن علي عليه السلام. السلام عليك جعفر بن محمد عليه السلام. السلام عليك موسى بن جعفر عليه السلام. السلام عليك علي بن موسى عليه السلام. السلام عليك مولانا غريب الغرباء. السلام عليك معين الضعفاء والفقراء. السلام عليك شمس الشموس ليس النفوس والمسكون بين التوس. السلام عليك محمد بن علي عليه السلام. السلام عليك علي بن محمد عليه السلام. السلام عليك حسن بن علي عليه السلام. السلام عليك مولانا صاحب الأسر والزمان اللمان من فتنة الزمان. السلام عليك خليفة الرحمن. السلام عليك شريك القرآن. السلام عليك إمام الإنس والجان. أجل الله تعالى فرجك وسأل الله تعالى مخرجك ونورك ورحمة الله وبركاته. اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد. اللهم كل وليك الحجة الحسن صلواتك عليه وعلى آبائه في هذه الساعة وفي كل ساعة وليا وحافظا وقائدا وناصرا ودليلا وعينا حتى تسكنه أرضك وأن تمتعه فيها طويلا.